Remember, this entire manga and every manga on this channel is hand-drawn by myself, and now you too can learn exactly how to make your own viral Dragon Ball mangas at www.makemanga.com, where you can learn directly from me. My mangas have got me on TV, on newspapers, and even earned me over $60,000 a month on Patreon alone. And now, you can click the link in the description and pinned comment of this video and do it yourself. You only need to see the website to see just how many thousands of you are taking this opportunity right now. And don't forget also, the next video to this Ultra Vegito series has already been made and is live now on my Patreon right now for over 4,500 of you incredible fans to watch after this. Again, links are in the pinned comment and description. Enjoy. So our story continues with Seraphim Goku, emerging from a pillar of pure Saiyan light. His body bulked up and his clothing now completely ripped after the beating he suffered against the Demon Emperor Kaida in a previous chapter. But now finally back in one of his most powerful forms, a form that was key in the battle against the Grand Priest. The Saiyan would stare into the palm of his hands with his glowing Saiyan eyes and comment, "So, here we are again. I really didn't think I'd need to use this again so soon. I haven't even taken a break. Not even a senzu. But a little challenge never hurt anyone. I could use the practice against this guy anyway." But in the distance, as the pillar of light would fully dissipate away, the Demon Emperor would begin to make out the new form and look of his opponent. What is that light? Why does it look so familiar? And it would seem, as soon as he would lay contact with his eyes, it wouldn't be Goku's perceived strength that would be causing Kaida to reel in shock, as he would mutter, "That can't be the same mortal! I felt this energy before! It's..." But before that thought could come to completion, a strange new occurrence would be affecting the demon's body. As looking at his hand in pure confusion, he would watch as it begins to start letting off smoke, as if being singed by the very light of Seraphim Goku. As Kaida would comment, "What is this? My body, it's reacting to something. His energy? No, that's like with an angel, like with a smite. This can't be possible with just a mortal. This has only ever happened with the damn priest. This has to be an illusion." But as more and more smoke would begin to be let off, to the point Kaida would begin to feel the pain, he would realize this was no dream, as he would continue, "No! What has gone on in the mortal realm to create a being like this? Who is this flesh pile? What is this power?" This is the power of the creatures of this planet, big and small, fighting back against an evil like you. What? As suddenly, a voice would be heard from behind the Emperor, his background now entirely blacked out, as a pair of very familiar Saiyan eyes only shine through. As emerging slowly from the shadows, Seraphim Goku would appear now in his entirety, his stare focused on the Emperor below him, as he would continue, Kaida, before I send you back where you came from, I want you to know my name. The name of the first mortal to show you the error of your ways. My name is Son Goku, a Saiyan from Earth, and a mortal who studied under the 12 angels. What? 12 angels? But immediately following this, Goku would harshly then grab Kaida by the throat, constricting his neck with his tensed forearm, as the Emperor would just yell out in panic, his voice changing as his airways would become blocked. Get off! How dare you! And utterly perplexed at how Goku could move behind so undetected and so quickly catch him off guard, with complete rage filling the Emperor, he would futilely grab onto Goku's arm with both of his hands. All the while, Goku's face would remain emotionless, as if struggling with a child. And with that blank countenance continuing, Goku would then say, "You know as well as I do, you can't break this grip. And you've only got a few minutes before you run out of air and your neck breaks. I can let you go though, before it's too late. I just need you to answer some questions for me first. Tell me, why is Lucif doing this? Why is he sending you guys all over the universe to take over these planets? Why go as far as even sending someone as strong as you? What's so important about them? This planet, Vampa, hasn't even got anything on it. It doesn't seem worth it. Do you think I'm a hostage?" But filled with fury, Emperor Kaida would just continue to scream at the top of his lungs, as if Lucif himself would hear and come to aid him. As in his rage, he would add, "So this is what you wanted to know this whole time? A simple answer, but you already had your chance to know earlier. Now that you've disrespected me like this, your answer is death! Let go, let go, let go!" As suddenly, letting go of Goku's arm, Kaida would then unleash a barrage of hard-hitting elbows with full extension, directly onto the solar plexus and abs of Goku. In an instant, more than 100 hard-hitting strikes as he would continue to yell for his release. But when we would see the cold face of Seraphim Goku, with not even the slightest twitch observable on his expression, he would just respond, "Was that supposed to hurt? If that's really the best you had, then it looks like just like the others, you'll be leaving this realm without any final words. Not long now before you suffocate, Kaida. Answer now, before I end this." And soon enough, Son Goku would make good on his threat, as pulling his arm closer inwards, as if there was nothing in between his arm and face to begin with, Kaida's neck would begin to crush, as gurgles of the last remnants of oxygen would spurt from his mouth. "And what, mortal?" But having had seemingly enough, the Demon Emperor's eyes would explode open, his neck partially bulging out to push back on Goku's arm before... In a surprise, Kaido would explode in energy, powering up right in front of Seraphim Goku, his power level jumping to an untold height as Goku's grip is forced ajar, with even the angelic Saiyan curious over just what else the Demon Emperor could be hiding within. And with his voice suddenly taking on a deep demonic turn, the aura alone would push Goku off, his body moving back involuntarily backwards. But with his face still not showing too much concern, the Seraphim would just comment, "Not bad, Kaido. You're living up to your name as an emperor now. But this doesn't change the fact I'm still getting my answers." And on that note, with his escape finally secured, Kaido would immediately jump back to gain distance, leaving Goku to watch cautiously on the other side. But on Kaido's side, there would definitely be a hint of the Emperor feeling embarrassment for even having to be put in such a situation, and the struggle that ensued, as he would grumble, You have some nerve, Son Goku. I will remember that name, for when you arrive in the afterlife, I will make sure to haunt you even there. You dare treat me like a victim to negotiate with. I am the invader here, and you and your kind are the conquered. But after that little tirade, Kaido would find himself smiling again, as in a better mood, perhaps with more confidence after his power-up would say, "Fine, your answers will come, flesh pile, but only in the way you said before. You want to earn them, so here is your chance. Make me yield, and you shall know whatever you wish." Now that's more like it. But in typical Goku and Saiyan fashion, the Seraphim would welcome this challenge with open arms, literally, as immediately Goku would crouch down into his signature fighting stance, while smirking and saying, "That's no problem at all. I just hope I can trust the word of you demons more than the gods. But even if I can't, I'm sure I'll have my ways of getting the truth out of you. I learned plenty from Vegito." As Kaido, following on, would then find himself in fighting position also. A curious new stance, not yet seen in the Dragon Ball universe, as with his mouth shielded, he would reply, "Vegito. Lucif mentioned something of that name. Someone already defeated by our great lord. I'm sure you will have much to talk about once I send you to meet him, mortal." And just like that, with the talking over, they would now opt to let their fists continue the conversation, as each would rush in straight at each other in an instant, their fists cocked back with one clad in divine Saiyan Seraphim energy, and the other cloaked in a violent red lightning until the scene would shift back to another colossal battle between Saiyan and Demon, with King Vegeta and the unnamed Demon King trading punches across each other's faces, the two fathers fighting valiantly after each declaring their sons to be stronger than the others. And following the impact, like synchronized swimmers in tune with one another, both would move back quickly, landing on the ground apart. As the Demon King would then say, "As expected, these 900 years of wisdom weren't for nothing. I knew from the moment you survived my blast that you were no ordinary mortal. The rumors of this realm containing warriors as strong as demon royalty were true. Now I understand how Dabura met his demise." But the King of Saiyans, not knowing what any of this even meant, would just frankly respond, "Dabura, maybe this is a conversation for my son, but you're right about one thing. As long as we Saiyans exist, the legends of our unlimited strength will always come to fruition. But just know, you haven't seen anything yet." "Show me!" And just like that, the two kings too would then launch right at each other, eager to prove their worth. Instantly launching into a barrage of back and forth battle that would soon flow into the sky all across the battleground of planet Yardrat. And with the two giggling, unable to help the smiles that would curve across their lips as the battle would bring back memories of their youth, King Vegito would say, "It amazes me to see someone somewhat keeping up with me, my fellow king. But I bet you didn't expect for a man of my age to move as I do. This reminds me of battles I had in my younger years." To which the demonic king, equally enjoying the battle, would reply, "I'm flattered, even though I too have yet to show you my all. But about your age, maybe old age is a factor in your realm. But these 900 years of wisdom came from 900 years of living in a realm that moves far slower than yours. How old exactly are you?" 900, huh? As with a sweat drop falling down the head of the mildly surprised Royal Saiyan, King Vegeta would say, "Maybe you got me beat there then, but not on power level!" As suddenly raising his voice, along with his arm violently into the air, King Vegeta would begin concentrating his energy until... Royal Arrow! In a stunning coincidence, adopting the same position as his son's Big Bang attack, which he would have never seen, the Royal Saiyan would unleash a signature attack of his own, as the beam's end would take on the shape of a sharpened arrowhead, flying through the air at an unprecedented speed. And as the all-powerful regal blast would approach, even the demon would be somewhat surprised, but perhaps not for the reasons we assumed. Royal Arrow, could it be? As with a smile, even face first with the blast, the demonic entity would in fact question, Could it be that you truly are a king like me? Royal paw! As raising his arm to the mirror image, he too would call out the name of a hauntingly similar signature attack too. And with that, out of the Demon King's hand, a blast with a full-on, fully fledged demon paw would explode outwards to meet with King Vegeta's arrowhead. Ultimately resulting in a gigantic energy collision of unmatched proportions, never before seen on Yardrat, as both fathers would scream in tandem, both of their faces being lost in the light as a severe amount of energy would clump together and concentrate until inevitably an explosion of unexplainable magnitude would arise from the two powerhouses colliding, utterly dwarfing any other living creatures nearby, including two dark shadows at the edge watching on. These two, of course, then revealed to be their two offspring, Prince Vegeta and the Demon Emperor, known as the youngest in history, with the thoroughly brat-like younger demon commenting, "Father, how you besmirch our family name with such antics!" Battling so enthusiastically with a flesh pile. How embarrassing! While Vegeta, looking to the Emperor, would then admonish him, interrupting, "You shouldn't speak so harshly of your father, kid. You do know he's fighting up there for you, your honor as his son. And don't be fooled, that's no ordinary flesh pile, as you say. That's the Royal King of the strongest warrior race in all the multiverse." Did I ask for your input, scum? But such a remark would instantly just trigger the young demon, who would look back at the prince in disgust, continuing, "Strongest warrior race? Don't make me laugh! So far the beings of this planet have been near wiped out by just the lowest of our species. I'm surprised you haven't disintegrated from just my sight, you pest!" Oh, I see. You think we too are from this planet. As Vegeta, now entertained by the Emperor's naivety, would explain, "We aren't from here at all, my little friend. These here are the Yardrats, a nice bunch, but no warriors. What we are Saiyans!" As suddenly, Vegeta's face would completely change in expression, focusing in now on his now closing in eyes before... "And I will show you the difference!" Instantly, leading to Vegeta in a bipolar rage to appear right in front of the Emperor with his arm pulled back, still surrounded in electricity until... all the young demon would see would be the fast approaching white-gloved fist of Vegeta, ready to smack some respect into the bratish creature. What a waste of time! But in a surprise response, instead of moving from the spot at all, the Demon Emperor would remain flat-footed, instead just opening his eyes wide as a strange glow would emerge from within until... in what can only be described as an inexplicable spontaneous explosion, a gust of dark red smoke and fire would unleash all over Vegeta's arm, just as his fist would get close to the unmoving face of the Emperor. Vegeta's expression, full of confusion rather than pain, as the adrenaline numbs any thoughts of his injury, while the young demon just coldly would stare on as if the entire scene was completely orchestrated. My arm! As once finally realization of his injury would set in, so too would the pain, as Vegeta would scream out in agony, his eyes almost fading with his consciousness from the pain and blood loss. Half his entire arm would now appear missing in a gush of blood, the severity of the damage now becoming visible to us all. But having had some pretty bad arm injuries before, especially in the Android saga, the prince would be quick to bite his tongue and control his emotions, as he would jump back and stamp down onto the ground, grabbing onto his open wound now to stem the bleeding, as he would just grumble. Well, I guess I can confirm I'm fighting one of these so-called demon emperors after all. Seems just like Lucifer, you've got a whole bunch of tricks up your sleeve, don't you, brat? It's amazing how often I find myself holding this arm of mine. A lot more than any one man should do in a lifetime. But I have to say, that was different. That energy, it cut through me like... But before the Royal Prince could give any more praise to his attacker, the Emperor, still with folded arms, as if Vegeta was not even worth the trouble, would instantly jump into the air right before him, 2 feet up before... viciously striking the already one-armed and vulnerable Saiyan right onto his chin, snapping his head back so violently his Adam's apple would almost pop out. The impact, of course, sending the still base form Vegeta flying off backwards at speed, moaning in agony before landing directly on his backside and skidding all across the ground to an eventual stop, taking in, of course, all the associated friction burns along the way. But as Vegeta would finally begin to raise his back off the ground, under his breath, he would just mumble incoherent words. How pathetic! All the while, the teen-like Emperor from afar would just keep watch, not saying a word as the prince would begin getting up. And as Vegeta's body indeed would rise up, he would strangely go quiet, his face ducked into the shadows as if looking to hide the pain on his countenance. I take it back. You are far more embarrassing than my father. As the goading demon emperor, looking almost annoyed at his victim's resilience, would say, "You flesh piles are truly so fragile. Like crumbling rocks, the lot of you. Why even get up and put yourself through more? What can you possibly do with one arm now, Mr. Warrior Race? Save me the hassle and just play dead. You're far too weakened to make this remotely interesting anymore." Weakened. But as Vegeta's hidden face and expression would now begin to look up, only a laugh would mysteriously be heard as he continues, "I'm not so sure about that one, kid. In fact, I'd say I've only gotten stronger, clown!" As suddenly, now revealing himself in his ultra ego state with a bizarre grin and his power level now spiking, Vegeta's injuries would only serve to boost his strength. For the first time, losing a limb, the untold power-up from such damage in Ultra Ego would yet to be seen. Sparking the unnamed Emperor's intrigue at both Vegeta's new look and words, as he would comment, Is this the same mortal? What happened?" "The teachings of a god of destruction! That's what!" As immediately, launching at the demon with a lunatic-like smile, near instantly using the boom material that gave birth to him, Vegeta would immediately reformulate his arm, gaining what could only be presumed both a Zenkai boost and a boost from Ultra Ego, as his energy would only continue to rise. "Now just try and do the same thing! I dare you!" As pulling back his left arm this time, the prince would almost invite another serious injury, knowing it would only serve to make him stronger. But this time, perhaps sensing what was going on, or just out of necessity, the Demon Emperor would block his fist with his forearm, his legs spread apart in stance to give him maximum footing. How? But it would seem, in reality, a myriad of questions would be running through the demonic warrior's mind, as he would question, how has your strength changed like this? And how is your arm back? No other mortal has shown such abilities. To which a cocky and bulging with veins Vegeta would just reply, "How? Maybe it's because us flesh piles aren't as fragile as you once thought." As in a flash, removing his fist and simultaneously raising his leg, the prince would rise above the emperor with his foot slung back before... With lightning quick speed and beastly ferocity, the Dark Prince would slam a kick right onto the face of the emperor to return the favor for earlier. But the demon would prove not as easily flunked, as fairly quickly he would regain himself in the air in the distance. How dare you touch me? But regardless, the same feelings of rage would flow through him. His ego damaged from just the thought of a lowly mortal getting the better of a demon, let alone an emperor. As he would then open his mouth to say something even more threatening, soon he would realize the cold feeling of a liquid running down his mouth, touching instantly with his hand as if the feeling were entirely foreign to him. And as he would look at his palm, a red smudge would be apparent on his thumb as he would begin muttering, This is my blood, isn't it? This mortal, he made me a demon emperor bleed! As suddenly, with his eyes growing wide in disbelief, as his whole backdrop turns black, as if his whole world was now collapsing around him, the young emperor would stand stunned, unable to understand how someone from the mortal realm could challenge him in any way. Indeed, something was about to snap within the demonic emperor. But meanwhile, King Vegeta and the demon's father would continue their battle, going blow for blow until... Suddenly, out of nowhere, the elderly demon would freeze, stopping King Vegeta at the same time as the Saiyan would wonder what the holdup was. You didn't! As in a strange sight, for some reason, as the Demon King would look to his son, almost instantaneously, he would begin to sweat, his voice cracking up and his eyes widening as he would mumble, You made Tizer bleed! You made Emperor Tizer feel pain! As King Vegeta, realizing now this was in response to his own son's power, would just comment cockily, What else did you expect, fool? That's my son, the strongest Saiyan of all. That look of fear in your eyes, could it be you finally sense your son's end? As with a shiveringly cold shudder to the demon's voice, inexplicably, he would just reply ominously, No, I sense the end of us all! What the? As back with Vegeta, the king's words would have some credence, as in front of the prince, all he would see is Emperor Tizer coated in a mysterious black energy. This kid! What is he? What is that thing behind him? But it would seem it wouldn't just be a black aura that would be alarming Vegeta, as through his battle-hardened eyes, something far scarier would be witnessed. As shockingly, when we would look through the eyes of the Saiyan, as if locked within Tizer, a giant demonic beast, once dormant, would seemingly have finally awoken. The reason this young demon had reached the level of Emperor and been hand-chosen by Lucifer himself to enter the mortal realm was now clear. And with his eyes now a bloody red, glowing violently, much like they did with Kaido. The Emperor, having snapped out of his initial shock, would then stare at Vegeta and let out, "Consider me corrected. You have proven yourself a worthy adversary, Saiyan. But that blood you bore from me will be returned tenfold. Bring it on, brat!" And Vegeta too, having got back to reality and controlled his fear at what he saw, would then instinctively get into fighting stance, remaining in his ultra ego state, eager to see just how powerful a demon emperor really could be. Yamoshi! And talking of demon emperors, the current one of Sector 10, Ultra Vegito, would then be rejoined in the demon realm after having just been dragged by force through a portal, leaving the ancient Saiyan Yamoshi behind. But just as the unstable Godkiller would make contact with the ground beneath, a mysterious dark hand which pulled him through would just as quickly let go. Damn you! Leaving Vegito to slam front first onto the cold, hard floor. You idiot! But Yamoshi, seeing this, would think fast. The multiverse is finished without my guidance! As jumping forward with speed, the Elder Saiyan would rush straight forward to the now closing portal. Nearly through! As just in the nick of time, he would find himself at least partially through, arms outstretched far before landing on his hand and instantly acrobating mid-air. Like a perfectly trained Olympian, Yamoshi would land on his feet in Sector 9. And with a sweat of relief, he would look back at the now miniature portal and the fallen Godkiller, saying with a smile, "You didn't really think you'd get rid of me that easily, did you, mortal? Where would you even be without me?" But as Yamoshi would be pleased with himself, conversing with Vegito, from afar, something would be approaching with violent speed. Something dangerous. What? As unbelievably piercing through his body and armor as if they were nothing, a purple beam of energy would penetrate right through his chest, winding the Saiyan immediately in what seems like a familiar scene from the past of Dragon Ball. Yamoshi! Causing the Demon Slayer Vegito to scream out in shock. But ultimately, for no real effect, as the lifeless body of Yamoshi would then crash down onto the ground, spurting out blood. Yamoshi! Heal! Quickly! Use Boo's power! As the Godkiller would yell out to his comrade, urging him to make use of Boo's regenerative abilities. But for some reason, no movements nor attempts would be made by the third, as he remains barely conscious. Who's out there? You'll pay for this! As Vegito, now up on his feet and up in arms, would then call out for the mystery assailant. and in the distance, pointing two fingers, a mystery it would be, as what seems like a dual-horned black silhouette would be visible within a gust of smoke. And finally revealed would be an all-new demon, no doubt an emperor, who curiously, clad in green and black armor, would bear a marked resemblance to a certain villain in the past. Just who is this new warrior? But that was it for today's video, guys, and if you made it this far, leave me a hashtag SELL in the comments down below, and let me know just what the God Killer will be dealing with now in Sector 9 without your mochi. Or just find out what happens right now on my Patreon, where you can see the full next video, fully voice acted, soundtracked and edited for you to enjoy, with over 4,500 plus other fans, as well as getting access to 250 plus other fan mangas too. It's the deal of the century.